chapter 10, and I've been asked to finish a little early because of visitors coming for Easter, so I'm going to alter things a little bit. And in Acts chapter 10, the theme of the chapter is preparation. It's a preparation of the church, which up until this point was almost, well, up until recently before chapter 10, the church was exclusively Jewish believers. We have recently had added that Samaritans are kind of half-breed Jews, those kind of half-Jews and half-not, that have come to be accepted as believers in Christ. But to this point, we haven't addressed what about the Gentiles, the complete Gentiles. And so chapter 10 is about the preparation of the church to the admission of the Gentiles. And most Jewish people were very skeptical, Jewish Christians were very skeptical about accepting the Gentiles as believers. So what God provides here in chapter 10 is a test case, if you will. Why can we take a test case before a court? Now, when you take a test case before a court, what you're trying to do is establish a legal precedent in that case that will then have weight in further cases to come before the court. And the ideal test case is something that clearly defines the issue that you want resolved. Something that doesn't have a lot of complexities to it that would muddy the water and make things more complicated. And something where the court is likely to give you a ruling that's in your favor. Once you've won your test case, then you have other cases that come up that are more complex, more complicated, a little bit more money. You've already established that precedent. And so you have that precedent to use in future cases. So God provides in Cornelius, the centurion, the perfect test case. Now, first of all, centurion, or Cornelius, is ethnically, he's as Gentile as you can get. From the name, Cornelius is a Roman name. He is the centurion who is the commander of a regiment, part of the Italian cohort, which would say that this army unit was from Rome and from, it was originally been comprised of Romans more than sometimes when Rome conquered people, they would get them to join the army and become part of their army. But this was from Italy. These were Romans. He was as Gentile as you could get, a pure-blood Roman. But he was a God-fearer. And what that means is that Cornelius worshipped the God of Israel. But he was not a proselyte. He had not sought to go through the rituals and ceremonies, including circumcision, to become made a Jew, as proselyted into the Jewish faith. He was a God-fearing Gentile, and he was a Gentile of good reputation. So he would be somebody that if there was any Gentile that the Jewish people would be willing to accept, it would be a man like Cornelius. So he makes the perfect test case to be brought before the church. So last week, we had that God had given Cornelius, in Cornelius' praying, God gave him a vision. And he was told by an angel to send representatives to Joppa and ask for Simon Peter and have him come speak to him and deliver a message to him. So Cornelius does this, and then the next day Peter, and he takes with him, and we find out in Acts chapter 11, there were number 6. He takes with him 6 brothers, which would be Jewish Christians, and the 7 of them travel by foot the 20 miles to go to Caesarea, which is where Cornelius is based, and he meets with them. And Cornelius attempts to worship Peter. Peter carries him out. Don't do that. And so then Peter says, okay, why did you call for us? So he explains, goes through the story again, says, we're sending you a message. And we'll pick that message up then in Acts 10, verse 30. I should have mentioned, where Cornelius is gathered together some of his friends and co-workers. Stifler, in his commentary, says that the number of people gathered there at Cornelius' house may have been more than 120 that were present at the Pentecost in Acts. So he's got a pretty good crowd of interested people that are waiting for him when he shows up in Caesarea. Verse 34, and Peter opened his mouth and said, in truth, I perceive that God shows no partiality. But in every nation, whoever fears him and works righteousness is accepted by him. The word which God sent to the children of Israel, preaching peace through Jesus Christ, is Lord of all. That word you know, which was proclaimed throughout all Judea, and began from Galilee after the baptism which John preached, how God anointed Jesus of Nazareth with the Holy Spirit and with power, who went about doing good and healing all who were oppressed by the devil. For God was with him. And we are witnesses of all these things, which he did both in the land of the Jews and in Jerusalem, whom they killed by hanging on a tree. Him God raised up on the third day, and showed him openly, not to all the people, but to witnesses chosen before by God, even us, who ate and drank with him after he rose from the dead. And he commanded us to preach to the people and to testify that it is he who was ordained by God to be the judge of the living and the dead. And to him all the prophets witness that through his name, whoever believes in him will receive remission of sin. Remission of sin. So Peter preaches the sermon, and it brings up a question from verse 35. It says, that in every nation, whoever fears him and works righteousness is accepted by him, being God, is accepted by God. So does this mean that those people that fear God and do good deeds are saved? They're in good state with God. They're in good state with God. All you need to do is believe in God and do good works. And that's, some would take it this way. I think there are many people, and I'll say a little bit about this later, to believe this kind of thing, even though they may not be basing it on Acts chapter 10, verse 35. But many people that this is kind of the way they view God looks at mankind. Well, the answer is no. And when we say acceptable, I think from context here, we have to say that God is acceptable to God to do business with. Because if we went to chapter 11, talking about Cornelius in 11:13, Cornelius, this is another retelling of God visiting Cornelius before he sent it to Peter. He says this, Cornelius told us how he had seen the angel stand in his house and send to Joppa to bring Simon, who is called Peter. He will declare to you the message by which you will be saved, you and all that is in your house. So, God found Cornelius acceptable to do business. God, as a matter of fact, God was so impressed with Cornelius' piety, his seeking after God, his alms, that he sent an angel to him. But that didn't get Cornelius saved. For Cornelius to get saved, he had to do the gospel. And so God, the angel, tells Cornelius to send to Joppa, bring Peter. Cornelius' entourage go down to Joppa, 20 miles distance. I don't know if they had horses, but they had to walk. Peter and his 6 companions have to walk the 20 miles back from Joppa to Caesarea to meet with Cornelius and his friends. This is how much trouble is going to get the gospel message to Cornelius. Now, if God just found Cornelius acceptable because he believed in God, he prayed, he gave alms, why go to the trouble of bringing Peter all the way from Joppa? And if there's a major takeaway I would like you all to have from this morning's lesson, and there are 2 major takeaways. One of them is this: nice people like Cornelius still need to hear and believe the gospel in order to be saved. And if you look at Cornelius' and the things he did, I can't come up with what Cornelius did. I don't think most people can. He was fasting until 3 p.m. He sits and he prayed always. He was a generous alms giver. He was a devout man who feared God. He was a just man. He had a good reputation among the nation in which he was residing, and he knew something historically about Jesus. But none of this was adequate to get Cornelius saved. For Cornelius to get saved, he had to hear God. So God sees that Peter is sent to him. Did y'all hear what Tim said regarding this? What Tim said was that in, I think it was 10 verse 2, the word used for prayer implies begging. He's begging to know God. He's begging to find acceptance with God. And so God responds to sending Peter to share the gospel with him. Now, when I say the gospel, I think I need to add some clarification. The gospel is a specific set of information. It isn't any just kind of good religious sounding stuff about God. Paul in 1 Corinthians 15 says this: Moreover, brethren, I declare to you the gospel which I preached to you, which you also received and in which you stand, by which you are also saved, if you hold fast to the word which I preached to you, unless you believe in vain. For I delivered to you first of all that which I also received, that Christ died for our sins according to Scripture, and that he was buried, and that he rose again the 3rd day according to the Scripture, and that he was seen by Cephas, and then by the 12, and after that he was seen by over 500 people at once, whom the greater part remain to the present, and have fallen asleep. So Paul defines the gospel. He says it concerns the death, burial, and resurrection of Christ, and he died for our sin. He didn't just die. Having a worthy cause for God got a bad break. He died for our sins. His death was substitutionary. He paid for our sins. He buried. He was resurrected. So this is what Cornelius needed to hear. And so the message is that even with all the good things that Cornelius did, Cornelius still needed the gospel. One of the things that has always amazed me is is the consistent uphold regarding religious faith in the United States. And this, I've got some current numbers that I pulled off the internet last night, but although there has been a decline in the number of people who believe in God, and that decline is steepest among the younger age range. Nonetheless, two things are simply astounding if you look at survey after survey done by reputable secular survey organizations about religious faith. 81% of people in the United States believe in God. 56% of people believe that God is in a God who is as described in the Bible. More than half believe that God exists and that he is as he's described in the Bible. The other statistic that kind of relates to this is always amazed me. God's creator. 20% of people believe that God created man pretty much as we are, moving out an evolutionary process. There's another 37% of people who believe that God created man, but he's guided an evolutionary process to do so. So if you add those two numbers together, you come up with something like 77% of people who believe that man exists because God created it. And the thing that is just astounds me about this, I really think that somebody who's working on a PhD thesis in evangelism ought to dig into some of this stuff. If you just looked at American society and said, well, how many people do you think are atheists or agnostic? I'd say 70 or 80%. You just don't see that evidence of religious faith. But in these surveys, the number of people that really believe that there's a God and really believe that God created man is well over half, quite large. And what's going on here? And I don't understand it all, but one thing that seems clear is that there's a lot of people who believe there's a God. Oh, the other statistic I want to give, an afterlife, 71% of people believe in heaven, 61%, more than half believe in hell. Yet with all that information, it seems like many people out there don't have much of an interest to get to know the God who created them, or to get to find out with some level of certainty where their eternal, they believe in life after death, how that's going to work out for them after they die. It's like they've got more important things to do with their time than worry about that. It just doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense to respond as most people to what they say they believe about God. And to bring us back to Cornelius, who actively pursued trying to find out these things. How many people are out there, though, that in some sense are like Cornelius in his lost faith? They believe in God. Maybe they pray, they read their Bible, they do religious things. They, in a civil sense, in a human sense, they're good people, they're generous, they give to charity, and they just assume they're okay with God because they do these things and haven't gone to the trouble to pay attention to what God said. Because Cornelius, they knew the God. They're not seeking. They're not seeking God. So, with regard to the specialness of the gospel, referring to Jesus, Acts 4:12, yours is salvation in any other, for there is no other name under heaven given among men by which we must. There's no other option. Yes, just back there. draw you to him. Okay, so two major takeaways from this morning. One, nice people like Cornelius, you still need to hear. Now, the second thing I want to focus on is the role of the resurrection. Out the book of Acts, the resurrection is central. Sunday we're celebrating the resurrection, but in his message to Cornelius and his buddies, he says, God raised him up the third day and showed him openly, not to all the people, but the witnesses chosen before by God, even to us. What the apostles are saying throughout all Acts. We're eyewitnesses. We saw him crucified. We saw him buried. We saw him resurrected. And then he goes on and he says, who ate and drank with him after he rose from the dead. He commanded us to preach to the people, to testify that he was ordained by God to be the judge of the living and the dead. He talks about the eating and drinking, driving home the importance. This wasn't a spirit. This wasn't a ghost. This wasn't some sort of apparition of the Christ that appeared after his death. He was physically alive. He had a material body. He ate, he drank. We saw him. We were with him. We are testifying to you that these things are true. And this message is out the book of Acts. It is central to the Christian faith, and that is the literal physical resurrection of Jesus is part of the gospel message. And to try to wrap this up. So, in Acts 10, 44 through 48. While Peter was still speaking, the Holy Spirit fell on those who heard him. Those of the circumcision believed were astonished that the man came with Peter because the gift of the Holy Spirit had been poured out. So they heard them speak with tongues and magnify God. And Peter said, can anyone forbid water? You should not be baptized in the Holy Spirit. But just as and of them to be baptized in the name of the Lord, as he could say a few days. So while he's speaking this message, they believe and they're baptized by the Holy Spirit at the moment of salvation, as everybody is in the body of Christ. Then, but it's not happening to everybody. It happened to them here. God allowed a supernatural manifestation of the Spirit's indwelling and filling in and spoken tongues. And to this, everybody here, this particular event sealed the deal. There could be no dispute between God and his God. And to the point that Kim had pointed out last week, what saves people ultimately is belief in the gospel. Even as they were listening, when they believed, at the moment they believed, they became saved. And sometimes we can get confused in evangelistic services and in evangelistic counseling in things that are done to help a person step across the line that separates intellectual assent to truth from the kind of personal reliance and belief that there are various techniques that are used. People may walk an aisle, they may say a prayer, they may ask Jesus to come into their heart. But all of these techniques are trying to get them to exercise the faith that goes beyond intellectual head knowledge into experiential faith. For instance, there's a difference between believing that a doctor is a really, really good doctor, and if you're diagnosed with a potentially fatal illness, going to them and saying, heal me. I have trusted myself in your care. I have placed my life in you. I'm giving it over to you. I am trusted. There's a difference between intellectual assent and the reliant kind of trust. But these counseling techniques are not what really saves the person. It isn't walking the aisle. It isn't saying prayer. It isn't asking Jesus. But ultimately saves them is the exercising of belief, the personal reliance, trust, and faith in the gospel message is that Jesus died for their sins, he was buried, he was raised again, and they're trusting that he is here, but the back and forth. Yes, and, okay, my apologies to the gentleman who asked me to finish early on. A little bit early, just to round that out. He takes with him 6. Peter's there, that makes 7. Our friend Ken Statton's in the numerology, would really appreciate the number 7. They got 7. Okay. The speaking in tongues was prima facie evidence that they had been saved. There was just there's no more, you couldn't doubt it, you couldn't argue it. These guys have really been saved. They've been accepted by God. They've received the Holy Spirit. Now there's something else that Peter does, and set things up for King next week. Peter commands that they be baptized. He didn't do the baptizing. Gentiles that just got saved didn't baptize themselves. Who did the baptizing? The six Jewish brothers that came along. So, after the fact, when we get into the food fight next week about the Gentiles getting saved, Peter said, can anybody withhold water from these so they be baptized? Well, nobody can say, well, you know, at the time I didn't think of anything, but later thinking maybe I'm not going to. They had to do the baptizing. And by doing the baptizing, they are buying in that they agree that these people are really saved, they're really Christians, and they're really brothers in Christ. So when Peter is done with his few days, and they're done with their few days in such a reason to go back to Joppa, they've got 7 witnesses to what happened. They're ready to tell the story, and you're bought into the fact that these Gentiles really got saved when the food fight starts next week in Acts chapter 11. Thank you. Let's go to prayer. God the Father, we thank you for your word, and we thank you for the way that you've worked through history. That we might be taught these precious truths, and the reminder of the importance of the resurrection of your Son, and what it meant to them in the first century, and what it means to us today. We say this in